Hello and welcome to season 2 of My Two Cents, where I talk about hair related issues. Most time it's on a documentary type setting, so we're going to try to incorporate that with this particular episode. This one I want to kick off by reacting to this particular video right here.
I can't finish doing her hair right now because the police came up here. Was I sitting on her? No. I prevented her from snatching her own braid out while I was doing it. I cannot let you rip my Can't get the braid in to put the bead on. Huh? And I had no reason to abuse my children. I don't abuse any of the children that do come into this facility, and I do nothing but help people out.
So a lot of the comments were like, is that abuse? I believe the poster said it was abuse, and or asked the question, is that abuse? And yes, a lot of black people, if you're especially used to going to the salon, you know the term tender-headed. White people are tender-headed too. Because I've worked at a nursing home to where if they had not combed white people's hair, it'll tangle up and they'll be just as tender-headed as, a traumatized 5-year-old going, I made a comment. The term colonizer is offensive to certain people. I do not care. Just to give a little premise or background as to why I speak in them terms. I grew up in an all-black area. I never saw racism. I never had a reason to see racism. We grew up in a beautiful bubble. All I knew was doctors, lawyers, teachers, professionals that worked in professional settings and had huge houses between, very low to high income all over this county, Prince George's County, Maryland. It was at one time the richest black county in the United States of America. I had no reason to see racism. We moved to Calvert County, Maryland in 2018. Once you see racism, you cannot unsee it. It's something that I believe my parents protected me from because I know that they've seen it in the government sector. My father admitted to it before his passing, understanding a little bit of what he went through. I can only imagine because I had to protect my children against something I had never seen before. In person, we were taught that it happened back then. I know somebody saying, what does this have to do with racism? This post. Because it's the reason why the little girl had to scream the whole time, get her hair done. Because what is the alternative? If she goes, more than likely, I'm guessing she had to go to a public school. If she has to go sit in a public school setting with her hair looking unkept. I just did a video on a police officer that got written up because they said there were rollers in her hair. I'm going to put this right here. That's not rollers. It's pipe cleaner. You see, the definition of unkept or professional is based on what the colonizers in this country started. What is definition of presentable, right? And so these same people and these same institutions set the precedent or the criteria for what you can call CPS in regards to, which is what I commented on one of the threads. I was saying, when you live in a colonized country, they'll call CPS on you and your children could possibly be taken from you. And I know some people are saying that's thinking too far. And the only people who is thinking this in their brain is somebody who never had the experience or never had interactions with CPS. I have. And not saying it's only white people that will call CPS on you. I believe that all of us have been conditioned to report to government agencies ridiculousness. Because you can see the child was screaming and crying. She should be allowed to just throw it up in a ponytail and just keep it moving. But these things running through your brain. Me as a hairdresser for 23 years, licensed cosmetologist, I've seen it. I know that this child hair has to be done in order to be presentable to go to school. You can't walk around with unkept looking hair, even though Miss Becky Sally Sue could have an unkept looking ponytail and it's not as big of a deal. Not to say that white people don't experience the same thing as black people. It's just a totally different level. I'm doing this video because I was bothered by this second video that is kind of related but not really to hair, but I wanted to bring this up to address this in this video. Let me play it right here.
Here we go. I've been an ear doctor for 10 years now, and a significant amount of my African American patients, while I'm doing a history and physical to understand better what's going on with their problem today, they have someone on the phone. They're either just talking on the phone or they're on FaceTime, but a large percentage of my African American patients have someone that's there in the room even though they're not there in the room. Why is that? When I, myself, not speaking for an entire race or ethnicity, have a doctor come in, I hang up my phone. African American people are currently and have historically been mistreated and endangered by the American medical system. I posed a question to the internet yesterday about an observation that I had made as an emergency medicine doctor that a disproportionate amount of my African American patients were on their cell phones during medical encounters. And I thought I knew the answer, but I asked why. And there were a lot of people that were upset that I would talk about this on social media, and they were upset that I wasn't talking directly to my patients about it to get the answer. And I 100% get that. I should absolutely be doing more in my personal practice, in my immediate environment, to help make the medical environment a safer place for Black people. It was my hope that by making this video, I could reach a lot more people than I can reach in person and address the fact that there are a lot of people who think that it's rude to be on the phone during a medical encounter. But it was my suspicion that this was rooted in very justified mistrust and fear of the medical system. To everyone that I have triggered and offended, I apologize. It is my genuine goal in life to spread positive ripples throughout the world, and it appears I have missed the mark with this.
First of all, my perspective when I'm watching this man, I'm trying to be objective when I'm watching him, because my immediate reaction, and I was lighting him up on the thread, the reason why people is on the phone doing doctor's examinations, Black people, is because they don't trust you. I didn't even realize that my husband instinctually did this until that man posted that video, and then I thought about it. Umar had just been in the hospital. Y'all could go on the I have like I don't even know if I put it on the playlist. It's irrelevant, but I did a thing on Starbucks and the reactions to Starbucks, and my husband had an asthma attack. My husband had a full-fledged asthma attack. Scared the mess out of me, which is why I decided to make this video, because I kept trying to say, perhaps it's in the food you ate at Starbucks. And, you know, you can look up the ingredients to this particular coffee cake, and it had like stuff that directly relates to breathing issues. When he was leaving work, he couldn't even get halfway down the block. He could not breathe. He calls me as he cannot breathe and was saying, I can't even get down the block. I'm like out of breath. I said, listen, what did you eat? And then he told me what he ate. He told me who brought it to him. His supervisors or whatever, you know, they just feed everybody at Starbucks. By the way, I had to remind him, we're boycotting. I don't care what you think this is, but we don't do Starbucks anymore. It's over. That's another video. We hung up. When he got back into the wherever, I'm assuming he was in like the emergency room lobby or wherever. He probably was sitting in front of the doctor. We're on the phone. We're talking. So, and I know that I talk to my husband because I know that probably him being able to talk to me provides him some level of comfort. And then he's also explaining to me where he is located in case something happens to him. Who thinks this far when you have an asthmatic emergency? Somebody who instinctually knows, even if they don't admit, they don't trust the circumstances. They don't know these people you about to sit in front of. More than likely going to come across a white person. More than likely, even if it's a black person or Spanish or whoever, they're a mandated reporter. I don't know what could happen. Like, it's fair game. I don't know what could happen. That's how we navigate through this world. Not all black people. I believe everybody has not had my experience. But once you see racism, you cannot unsee it. I never looked at white people the same after I experienced what I experienced in the school system in Calvert County, Maryland. I had never seen nothing like that in my life. It was like a freaking Lifetime movie. It was wild. It wasn't just, oh, we hate black people. It wasn't that. It was the fact that everybody participated in this criminal activity. It was the wildest thing I have ever seen in my life. So my perspective to that doctor was, we don't trust y'all. And by y'all, I meant both. Mandated reporters in the medical profession. And I'm so sorry if I offend anybody what I'm about to say. But white people in general that's in America, absolutely not. Because the goggles that your average white person walks through society with is just so... It's like you just take a blindfold and put it over you. To me, it's worse than when I see a black person who they call a loon. You know, the stuff that rhymes with loon. I don't want to say that because I don't want to get the video flagged. When we think they put blindfolds on, white people do the same thing. Some white people. I was talking to my son, and a lot of times I get different perspective from different people. And I remember I said to him, this is just now, he left. I said to him, I can't believe that. I refuse to believe that people walk through the earth this stupid. I cannot believe this. I actually said, I refuse to believe this. I said, maybe I'm tripping. Can you give me a different perspective? And you know what he said? This is a 15-year-old. He said, you know how lions, they're natural predators. And he said, but, you know, maybe their prey is scared, but all the lions get along, so they ain't really threatened by each other. So I said, so they've never had the experience of being that level of prey. He said, exactly. Now, this is somebody who had firsthand experience with the craziness. I'm going to end off with this last story. We had a boundary issue. I don't know what is wrong. Maybe it's just, I'm not going to blame it on white people. Maybe it's just the area that we live in. But there was a boundary issue. It's this entitlement of, I should be able to touch you. I should be able to do things to you. Like the kids just think they can just walk up and just touch my children. And I should just be like, I should just get over it. I'm speaking as if I'm, my child. And I remember Umar went to school ready to box. That's his whole everything was, I don't know who going to do what when. He was ready. And had to box a couple kids. Self-defense is self-defense. So the teacher called me. It was a white lady. And she was just like, oh, I'm just confused. Like, he won't relax. I just need Umar to relax. Why do you need somebody to relax this bad? So I was like, you need him to relax? I said, ma'am, he come to school every day not knowing who gonna touch him, who gonna smack him. He got his guards gotta be up. So you want me to tell him to relinquish his trust to you. You want me. So he trusts me. I done known this child for 10 years. At this time he was like 10. And you want me to just get rid of all the trust I done built up and give it to you so that he could be vulnerable and let some child walk up to him and keep smacking him? That's the perspective that doesn't make sense to me. I had to check that lady multiple times. She was like, I have never experienced this where the child only respects me because of what you say. Exactly. Like, she kept like trying to nitpick. I said, listen, tell me what you want him to do so I could just tell him to do it. Because he was a pretty obedient child. So I didn't understand this whole, but I think what she wanted was she needed him to trust her that much. It's almost like an allegiance, almost like in a worship. It's just not going to happen. So going back to hair, we're going to loop this right back around to hair. The reason why you see little girls going through what that little girl was going through, this is standard. I have been standing over somebody's head and been combing as gently as I possibly can. You can ask my clients, I am gentle, and the child, oh my gosh, screaming the whole time, lighting the whole building up. It sounds like I'm abusing the child because it's just that traumatic. But me and mommy know she gotta go to school with her hair looking decent. It's rooted in colonization, colonized societies. That's what it's rooted in. Our hair, as it stands, is not acceptable. Yeah, I don't got to worry about that because I wear the hijab, and that gets its own level of discrimination on its own. But black women who walk around, or brown women with kinky hair who walk around in American society, it's deemed unacceptable. It's deemed unkept. It gotta look a certain way. And even, like I said, with that young lady who is suing the police department, that is a finished style. They still got her. They still doing psychological stuff. So we're going to kick off this season of My Two Cents with the hair documentaries. The next documentaries, inshallah, will be the whole relaxer scandal with, the roots of why we get relaxers and all this kind of stuff. I'm in the process of making that right now. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Inshallah, I'll see you next week. We're going to do these series once a week. I haven't decided the day. Thursdays. Okay, right. We're going to do Thursdays at 12 p.m. until I get tired. Thank you.